One of the reasons you probably listen to this podcast is for help on ways to eat better, to help you look better and ultimately live with better health. And I've spoke about lots of different things over previous podcast episodes to help you do that. But one thing I've not covered is the importance of your environment. Now, I may have spoke about environment in the past, community culture, but that was more to do with the people you surround yourself with, your environment and the people that are within it. Okay, but in today's episode of the Kirk Miller Podcast, which is going to be a shorter episode today, I just want to share with you ways you can create a better physical environment to help you eat better. Because I'm sure if you listen to this, if you've ever gone to shit with your food, you've overeaten, curbed to cravings, a lot of the time it would have been influenced by the way you were setting your environment up, whether it's at home or in your workplace. So what I want to share with you today is go through 8 things which I think will help increase awareness of how to potentially set up your environment better than maybe what you currently are. Some will be probably obvious, some might be irrelevant depending on how you manage your food, but I'm pretty sure across the 8 there'll be at least one that will resonate with you if you find that what to eat, how much to eat, but still sometimes you cave, when you're stressed, tired, bored, because your environment isn't setting you up to win, or more importantly, isn't setting you up to eat better, okay? Number 1, display healthy foods in a prominent place. How many times have you gone into a cupboard, whether it's at work or home or a fridge, and you're starving, you're stressed, it's after a long day, it's towards the weekend, and you fucking eat the first thing that's in front of you, all right? You will grab the first thing you see. So this is probably the most obvious one if you're trying to get a grip on your food and eat more consistently, but display the healthiest foods in a really, really obvious place, all right? Because when you're hungry or you have an emotion or a feeling that says, God, I'm hungry, and you want to start eating shit, if you've got healthy food in front of you, it'll at least make you contemplate eating the healthier food first at the expense of maybe the foods that deep down don't support your goals, okay? So display healthy foods in a really prominent place. You need to make healthy foods easy to access, all right? Especially when willpower is low or you haven't got the level of consistency with your nutrition yet, all right? So if it's your fridge or your cupboards, set them up to win. Pack them full of healthy foods that support your goals, not contradict it. Number 2, use smaller plates. I don't know about you guys listen to this, but as a kid, I was always told, finish your plate, right? Finish your plate, which I'm really, really, really good at, right? Even now, I probably contradict this point because I eat 2 meals a day, of course, and I like to have a big plate because I eat 2 meals, I want to make sure there's plenty of food on it, all right? But if you have meal frequency of say 3 or 4, and you are struggling to control your calories, sometimes the problem is your plates are too big, and one way or another you're making that plate full. So when you have smaller plates, it's going to restrict the amount of food you can put on the plate, all right, which might sound a bit extreme, but if you are someone that will pretty much eat everything that's put on your plate, or if you put a plate out and you start making your dinner, or even someone makes it for you, and you are someone who likes to finish every last mouthful, then it might help you just to contemplate using smaller plates. I have heard other things, and I've never done this myself, in relation to plates where alongside smaller plates, use darker coloured plates as opposed to maybe white plates, because again, if there is a contrasting colour to your actual food, then it's going to highlight mentally how much food you've actually got on your plate, whereas sometimes if the food's similar colours to the plate, then you can fill the plate up even more and you don't register how much food you've actually got on the plate and how many calories you're consuming, all right? So if you're struggling with portions, use smaller plates, right? It might help you. Number 3, this is, I suppose, more specifically relative if you are someone who preps your food or someone preps your food for you, and that is wrap unhealthy foods in tin foil and wrap healthy foods in plastic, or basically some form of container that is visual. Even if you're not wrapping healthy foods in a container, or at least have it so it's visual, because it's that principle again. If it's out of sight, it's out of mind. Okay, especially when emotions are high, intelligence is low. At least you're creating another mental barrier and a visual barrier, I suppose, to eating like that unhealthy food that will contradict your goals. Okay, so ties in with number one, of course, but try and make it visible and easy to access healthy foods, and try and again not be able to see by wrapping unhealthy foods in tin foil, as much as you can, whether it's in a fridge or obviously in a cupboard. Number four, and you'll notice a common theme with some of these, all right? So if it sounds a bit repetitive, it's for a reason. Number four is keep healthy foods in larger containers and unhealthier foods in smaller ones. Again, sounds a bit obvious, but think about over the years, how many times things that have been in smaller containers, smaller tins, are just pretty much left on the shelf or left in the fridge for months on end. Generally speaking, when things are in larger containers, again, it's more visually in your face. So again, when you're hungry, you're more likely to eat these things in larger containers. All right. And I think as well, psychologically, when you keep healthier foods in larger containers, psychologically, it makes you feel a little bit more prepared with your food. I know when I used to prep my food, more specifically myself, for example, especially like my proteins, and I'd batch cook with potatoes, etc. I would use larger containers because I cook like sort of 3 days in advance. Whatever my protein source was, generally it was like chicken at the time, and the same with potatoes. Again, it removed friction of me wanting to eat healthier, and it was just more in my face, so I was more likely to keep eating it, okay, than unhealthy food being in smaller containers. Number 5. Every time you walk into the kitchen, drink a glass of water first, right? I've said this to clients so many times. In your environment, especially at home or your workplace, so often I think we opt for food, snacks in particular, when we're procrastinating over a task, we're stressed, we're bored, we might have been triggered by a conversation with a colleague or family member or kid, or just those golden words, fuck it, have crept into our vocabulary. And so you go into the kitchen, cupboard or fridge to obviously look for a snack and something shitty to eat, okay, to give you a short-term reward and make you feel good in the moment, okay? But if you can associate that every time you go into the kitchen with drinking a glass of water, one, of course, you're going to stay hydrated. 2, it gives you an opportunity to break the pattern of you potentially eating shit and snacking, even if you're not actually hungry, by drinking a glass of water. Because when you're drinking a glass of water, that's going to take you, best part of a minute to fill the water up, or at least get it out of the fridge, drink a glass of water. And then in that time, you can evaluate, am I actually hungry, or was I just eating because I was bored, tired, stressed, or simply habit, etc. Okay, because so often, as I've said before, you're going to be dehydrated, not hungry. Okay, so make sure your environment it's got plenty of water, okay? Whether it's like, high quality bottled water, or you've got a tap filter of some sort, okay? But make that your first sort of habit when you go into the kitchen, because the more time you repeat that, again, you can just condition that over and over again. It'll become more automatic. And remember, like, for us to take full control with our food, eventually things have to become automatic and obviously just totally be normal within our lifestyle management. Number 6, eat in the calmest space within your home or workplace. So eat in the calmest space within your home or workplace. Because often, if we're eating when it's noisy, loud, you'll eat too fast and you're more likely to overeat. How many times, if you were to evaluate, maybe even the last month, when you've overeaten, were you in an environment that was loud? Okay, maybe you were talking a lot, so you're not even registering how much food you're going in. And I see this so often at restaurants in particular, and definitely, in high stressed environment and high pressured environments in corporate companies, etc. People eat too fast, and then you don't even register the calories that are going in. Then you eat more calories than you actually need, just from being in a noisy, loud environment. You know, it can, I suppose, in a way, when it's noisy and loud as well, especially if like you're a high adrenaline junkie, you're generally someone who loves pressure and sort of being in sort of, fight mode regularly, then, you know, you are more likely to overeat. Okay, so try and create a calm space at home or your workplace where it's a different environment, even within your workspace or home, that over time you will just associate, right, this is my time to eat, chew my food properly and eat healthy. Okay, the last thing you want to be doing as well, in my opinion, is fucking eating and working at your work desk. Eating and working at your work desk. One, I just don't think it's good for bandwidth. I don't think it's good for productivity. But you're just more likely to overeat, because obviously when you're also trying to multitask and work and eat at the same time, you're probably going to be subconsciously stressed, by maybe trying to get a work task done, and because of that, you can just overeat again through comfort and wanting to reward yourself. Number 7, and this ties in with number 6, more so at home, but try and sit at a dinner table when you eat. Try and sit at a dinner table when you eat. You're going to be more relaxed. You're going to be more mindful when you eat. You're going to chew your food more effectively. And I'll speak about chewing food properly a lot, because one of the reasons people overeat is they don't chew their food properly. You know, they swallow it, and then, you know, you got 2 hormones, leptin and ghrelin hormones, that work hand in hand. One tells you you're full, one tells you you're hungry. You know, the more relaxed you can be and sitting calmly at a dinner table, I believe, is going to help you do that. The less likely you are to overeat. And more importantly, you're going to be more aware of tastes and flavors, okay, which is so important. Like, so take the time when you eat, you eat. When you relax, when you relax and eat, that's your time to relax and eat. You know, it's like, you know, don't be a dabbler. You know, I've had some fantastic mentors over the years, you know, that, and they speak about managing transitions. So if you are doing work like a lion when you work, and then when you're sitting down relaxing, either during your lunch break or after work, just relax, eat mindfully, okay, and have a set place that you do that, okay, and you can't beat that, especially at dinner table, at home. And then the last one, and this is something I suppose I got really, really, really good at, especially as I've started to outsource my food a little bit more in the evening, but I still sort of make, you know, my first main meal of the day, which tends to be between sort of 12 and 2, even 3 sometimes. But number 8 is only buy what you need, right? I know some of you listening to this go, oh, I've got kids, I've got a partner, I've got colleagues, right? So what, right? Buy what you need and buy what they need, okay? Because I've challenged clients on this in the past who, it was just in the cupboard, you know, it was the kids. Well, if you're only buying what they need and what you need, you're a selfish fuck if you're eating your kids' fucking chocolates, snacks, if you've only bought enough for what they need. And again, I'm not telling you how to obviously, run your kids or lead your kids, but if you're buying excessive shit for your kids, okay, and as a result of that, you're eating some of it, I challenge you, why are you actually buying that much junk for your kids in the first place? Like, you know, is that really going to help them long term with their health, their body weight, their confidence, their ambitions, maybe with focus? Okay, but that's a different subject, which I'll cover at a different time. But I just know that's a common excuse with partners, business owners. Oh, no, it's because of my kids, because of my partner, because of my colleagues, right? You have a choice, right? Especially as a leader, especially as a business leader, to take control of the health of your organization, the health of your family, okay? So it doesn't mean to be everything needs to be boring and obviously like all real food. You can have some snacks, of course, but just be practical and have some form of balance with that, okay? Because if it's there and excessive amounts of it's there, your kids are going to eat it, your partner's going to eat it, your colleagues are going to eat it. Obviously, if you're in a business, right, and you're blaming, okay, I need to have snacks and treats for my colleagues. Again, I'll talk about this on another episode. That will affect your productivity and your focus of your team, all right? And if you're trying to get the most out of your employees or the people you work with, having copious amounts of shit in the cupboard certainly is going to help that, okay? And I've spoke to many companies, publicly about this. It is an actual scientific fact that if there is excessive shit in the cupboards, it will affect focus, productivity, mood, okay? Well-being of your workforce, okay? But at home in particular as well, only buy what you need. Like, for example, If you were to come in my fridge, and granted I haven't got kids yet, of course, but I have a partner who doesn't like to eat exactly like I do, right? I buy what I need, okay? Fridge and the cupboards aren't exactly full, especially because I outsource a lot now, but it stops me. I'm human. I have times where I'm craving shit. It might be, again, work too much, be a little bit tired, a bit fatigued, but by the end of the week, the weekend, where I think, you know what, I might take this Kirky Sunday special up a notch, okay? But if it's not there and I can't see it, I can't eat it. Or at least it's putting a barrier and making me have to do something to physically order and get something, whether it's Deliveroo, go to the shop, but you're still putting a roadblock in place of that. Even if you are going, you know what, I'm just going to go to the shop, I'm just going to Deliveroo, you still have to think again, am I going to do this? It's time, might be extra money, okay? So try and only buy what you need in relation to your goals. So when you're ordering your food shop, you're outsourcing your food, or your missus is going shopping, right? Or you've got someone within your business team that is, again, bringing food into the office. How can you influence that for the better, right? And evaluate that ruthlessly, week to week, and go, right, from the food that I'm buying or, sort of instructing someone to buy for me or for us, how can we look at that, magnify it a little bit more and go, you know what, do we actually need all of those things, especially if it's the processed stuff, added sugar stuff? Like, you don't have to go from one extreme to the other, but how can you just have a little bit less of that? Because if it's in the fucking cupboard at some point, it will get eaten by you or someone else, even though someone else or you isn't hungry at that time, okay? And just a couple of questions to finish. As always, I suppose I've just sort of echoed that in point number 8. But number 1 is, what is the one food you need to buy less of? Look at your food the last 7 days or your shopping bill like the last month. What is the one food that you need to buy less of that is doing you, your family, your colleagues, no favours when it comes to looking after their health? What's making the biggest dent in the calories, and which one do you justify buying too much of it that is absolute shit that you know you need to reduce, all right? And take responsibility for that. Number 2, what is the one food you need to start buying more of? So in relation to your goals, your body goals, right? Of course, there's 3 macros: protein, carbs, fats. I've spoke heavily on previous episodes about the importance of like real wholesome food, right? So which one food from those food groups, right, do you need to start buying more of that is more in line with the body you want to walk around with? And if you listen to this going, you know what, I'm happy with my shopping bill, right? Shopping, not bill, but if you're happy with your shopping order each week, or you're happy with, what you're currently, having within your food, then, and you're happy with your body, then of course ignore everything I've said today. But if you know you can look better, feel better, and you want to live healthier, what is the one food that will demonstrate that you mean business? Okay, what do you need to start buying more of? And when will you do it? And a quote, one of the best books, and I may have said this before, that I really advise anyone who's trying to get a grip on habits and learn even more about environment, is The Atomic Habits by James Clear. Because this quote really is everything for me. I think, when it comes to trying to eat better, perform better, and that is, your environment is the invisible hand that shapes your behavior, right? And it's a yes or no question, like I'm about to ask you. Is your environment setting you up to eat healthier or not? Is your environment setting you up to look better or not? Is your environment setting you up to live with more energy and focus or not? And if it isn't, what are you going to do about it? And if it is, what do you need to do more of to make sure that your environment keeps setting you up to win, and more importantly, eat better? All right? Because again, it might sound a little bit boring, some of the things I spoke about today, but like, if you can master your environment, control your environment, okay, you make the decision process of choosing foods a lot easier, because you've put the work in a little bit with protecting your environment more. So as I said, a little bit shorter than usual episodes, but I just wanted to get straight to the point and sort of elaborate on these points today. But if you create and control your environment, then you will take control of your fat loss and the way you want to look and feel. Thank you so much as always for listening, and I'll see you next time.